Hey now, it's Little Paulette without the gang, and I am back with part 2 of my recap of Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 7, Fathers, Daughters, and Sisters. So this is part 2. I want y'all to go ahead and hit that like button if y'all like me. Hit that dislike button if you dislike me. Either way, comment. Subscribe if you want to get more videos. Hit the notification if you want to know when my new videos are coming out. All right, so here we go with part 2 to Fathers, Daughters, and Sisters. So it starts off with Nikki crying, laying in her bed, crying about, the situation with her, just finding out about her dad. Angela comes in and she closes the door softly and she's kind of talking to her in whisper tones and apologetic, and she talks about how she doesn't want Nikki to miss out on knowing her dad the same way that Angela did. And it's a very tender, loving moment. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just kidding. That makes Nikki sit up and she's like, I thought you didn't like Teddy. And Angela's like, he's still my father. See, I told you she was developing a little soft spot for him right in the center of her heart. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Angela talks about how her anger closed her off to Teddy and she shouldn't have done that. Maybe she shouldn't have done that. But she tells her also how Nate is so different and Nate is very creative. He's so much more than his mistakes and he's an artist just like his daughter, Nikki, And she's saying so many good things about Nate. It's so sweet. Angela told her she was trying to protect her. Nikki was like, nah, you was trying to protect you. And then she was like, you, Mama Eve, and Aunt Piggy, y'all all lied to my face. Black people, honey, we got some secrets. I mean, all races do, but I'm black, so we got some secrets that we be hiding up in the families. Yeah. And she was like, you hid this ish my entire life. You know what I'm saying? And she was like trying to hug her daughter. And she was like snatching away. Like, can you please leave? Turn back over and lay back in the bed mad. So Angela left Nate's diary on the table. She was going to tell Nikki about it, but she didn't get a chance. And Nikki will find it at her own time and on her own time, rather. And she'll get to discover how much she's just like her daddy. She almost went to jail too like him. It cuts to a press conference. Actually, Aunt Piggy is sitting downstairs watching the press conference that's about to begin, and Angela comes in, and Aunt Piggy says, I was just about to call you to tell you about this press conference. And Leah is in the press giving the press conference like she had said earlier she was going to do. Sometimes I talk so fast that I start getting tongue-tied. Excuse me, guys. And the Raymond's ex-wife asks about how Teddy got to the hospital by Tyree and an ex-con named Nate Robinson. And Leah was like, what does Nate Robinson have to do with anything? Oh, nothing. So basically, she's just trying to throw a little stuff out to the press, I guess, to see what sticks or whatever. And then she's like, he's wanted for accessory to murder and your father's associated with him. And does it go beyond family? Is that your sister's baby's father? And Nate and Leah's like, on that note, I'm in this press conference. This chick is a trip. And the funny thing is that Raymond looks so worried every time he finds out that she did something. But he hired her to get dirt. I'm so confused about it. Is it that he didn't want her to go hard like this, but he wanted her to do it, or he's having second thoughts? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And Nikki was watching the press conference, and she's like, accessory to murder. And Angela turns around like, Nikki, and Nikki turns around like, very judgmental. Even though she just almost went to jail. She could have went to prison. Because the way she beat that girl up, if y'all didn't watch this show or y'all don't watch this show, Google that fight. Google that fight. If there's a way, well, I don't know if I'm gonna have time because I'm leaving for a road trip in a couple of hours, but we'll see if I have time to get that fight and put it in there. But if not, Google that fight. She mollywopped that little girl. Like, if any judge seen that, but she did get on probation or something, she got in trouble, she was supposed to get locked up. But if any judge see that, or any parent see that, they'd be like, oh my God. She looked like she could have broke her face. Like, she was tearing her ass up. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. That pissed Angela off. She said it's one thing to come for Leah or me, but what you not gonna do is come for my baby girl, snatching her keys and her purse and stomping out the door like Miss Sophia. Horrible. Then it cuts to the ex-wife and the current wife, Leah, with the same, in a damn, I can't even think. In Teddy's office, and the ex-wife puts a recorder up to her mouth and asks her if she got anything else to say, because she looked like she had something to say, or maybe Leah said something to her first or whatever, like, hey, or whatever. And Leah was like, no, I don't got nothing to say. This is a warning. She said, this is the second time you came for me. The third time, it ain't gonna be whatever. Like, basically, she gonna whoop that ass. Or maybe she gonna get somebody too. I don't know. Because she got a lot of money. She probably don't get her hands dirty. But she straight up told her. And, of course, old girl said, are you threatening me? And I love when people say, it's not a threat. It's a promise. Leah said, it's Mrs. Franklin DuPont to you, while wiggling her ring finger. And she said, and you heard me. Way back, y'all. Way back, way back, way back. It cuts to the hospital, showing Teddy still, hooked up to machines. Leah sitting next to him, holding his hand or rubbing his hand. And then you see Angela come barging in, just like Miss Sophia, talking about how she gonna go for the ex-wife because she came for her baby girl. Leah says she is relentless, and I could use some backup. Yeah, I love that sister love. I love that sister love. She said, I got time today. We both got time today. Okay? Next thing you know, you hear the machines beeping, and Teddy's going into cardiac arrest, y'all. Ooh. Angela grabs Leah's hand, and Leah grabs her hand, and they're holding hands like they've been sisters their whole lives, and they are scared. You can see it in their faces. Both of them are like, that's my daddy. They love him. I love that. Even though he's an asshole, he still deserves love. And then you see the doctors like doing CPR on him, and everybody's really scared. And, well, not everybody. Leah and Angela are really scared, and Teddy's body is jumping up, while they're doing the CPR. I mean, he really looks dead, though. Then they turn on the electric paddles and they shock him. And next thing you know, they show Teddy and the brother again. This time they dressed in black. And they dressed in black suits to the nines. Earlier when they was on the beach, they was in white linen suits, like you might wear when you go to the Bahamas or something like that. And it's very dark now. It's really dark, and you could just see like their brown faces in their suits, but everything else is like black. Kind of like my background. Kind of like that. Blackity black, blackity black, blackity black, black, black. And it looks like they're at their father's funeral. They show a casket with an older black man in it. And then Teddy says, you were Dad's favorite. And then his brother says, no, I was his first. And then Teddy's like, you acting like it was a burden or something. Big bro said, and you assumed that it wasn't. I love this man. He said he loved him very much, but let's be clear. You were the beneficiary of all the mistakes that he made with me. And actually, that's how it is in families. The first kids are kind of like the crash test dummies that you do whatever you thought that you were supposed to do. And then you kind of start figuring it out. So then when you have the second kid, you're still kind of figuring it out, but you're doing better than you did with the first kid. Some people, this is not everybody. And then with the third kid, By the time that third kid comes along, you're no longer scared of this, you're no longer scared of that. You're really a lot more freer with that kid. He basically said he was never his favorite. You are little Teddy. Little teddy bear. And it's Teddy Franklin. That's hilarious. Just like the president, Roosevelt Teddy Franklin. Then Teddy starts saying he don't want this to be him in the casket. He said he not ready. He is not ready. Big Bro says we never are. And then they show the casket again, and it's Teddy lying there. It cuts to them prepping him for surgery, putting iodine on his chest. Guess so they can open up his heart. I really hate that. It shows Raymond at his house coming down the steps next. And when he comes down the steps, you can see Lauren sitting by the phone crying over her granddad. And then she says Mommy called and how they're about to rush granddad into emergency surgery. And she's really, really close with her grandfather. This is Leah's daughter, for those who don't know. And she's taking it really hard that her granddad is really sick. And she's also really close with her dad. Lauren tells her dad that she's really scared. And then they show like the upstairs, and they show Nate like walking to the railing, but then he steps on a creaky board like on the wooden floor, and they both turn around and look up, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, because it kind of looks like he's just eavesdropping, ear hustling, whatever you want to call it. Nate tells them that what they have is special, Lauren and her father, and he hopes to one day have the same thing with Nikki. And then Raymond tells him that he don't have to tiptoe around the house, make himself at home, get the things that he need around there. Because after all, it is like a compound there, Then it cuts to the maids and all the servants, that people that work for the Franklins, like in the serving areas of work, butlers, cooks, chefs, all that stuff. And she's telling them how, Teddy's in the hospital having emergency surgery, but their story is he's unavailable. And no matter what's going on, it's their job to guard this information and to do their job and keep everything in order while he's gone. And then next thing you know, Tyree busts in their little employee meeting. So Tyree is talking to the lady that was holding the meeting, and he lets her know that he came to ask questions about his dad, and that his dad didn't die the way that he was told. And then she tells him about a guy named Calvin, who's the closest person to his dad. And then he said, how can I get a hold of him? He said, you can't. He's dead. But he had a girlfriend that I think you know. And then he said, who? And she said, Patricia Vaughn. And he said, Piggy? And she said, yeah, that woman holds more secrets than a grave. Remember I told y'all every time Angela talk about finding out information about her mother, Aunt Piggy had this scared look on her face, like it's something she don't want her to know, it's something you can't find out about me, or whatever it is. She always has this petrified look, or after, if it's not a petrified look, she has a look like she's just thinking really, really hard, but mostly she's scared. Then it cuts to Raymond in the car with his ex-wife telling her that she went too far. And she's like, this is how I got ahead. And he's like, she was like, you wanted me to take down Teddy? And he was like, I said Teddy, not my wife. She was like, they are one in the same. I wish I could see how I'm jumping around up in her. Too funny, but she hit it right on the nose. She said, you don't get that by now? She ain't lying. He said he don't want his wife hurt, especially while her dad is laying on his deathbed. And she's like, let me just do what I came here to do. You could do this, you could do that, you can get your company back or whatever. So he was about to get out of the car. She grabbed his arm and she was like, if it was the other way around, what would Teddy do? And he was like, he'll go for his, take his. And she was like, exactly. So you're going to do the same exact thing. Yes. Yes, honey. I ain't mad at her. She right. She right. She said they conspired to steal your life from you, to steal our life from us. And she's rubbing on his little beard while she's doing it. And he looking at her. Then she said, don't you ever wonder what we could have been? And she leans over and kisses him for about 2 seconds. And he's like, no, no, no. Mm-mm. He said he loved his wife. She said, today. I ain't gonna go way back. Just a little back. Just a little back, y'all. That pissed him off. He said, we're done. Stay away from my family. But why are you getting so mad? Is some truth into that? Is that why? We shall see. And it turns out they was in the parking lot of the hospital. And guess who was outside the hospital door? And she saw Raymond get out the car with his ex, from his ex's car. And she looking back at the car, looking at Raymond. Looking at the car, looking at Raymond. Next it cuts to the shop. And Nikki is in there playing music. And Lauren walks in, asks her, is she okay? And Nikki basically says, that's a loaded question. Of course I'm not okay. I hope y'all can hear me because I did not have my microphone near me a minute ago. So Nikki asked her, how is Teddy doing? And she said he's in surgery. And she took a walk because she couldn't do anything else but wait, do anything else while walking. While waiting, but take a walk. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? I'm so tongue-tied today. And she tells Nikki, I met your dad, or like, I guess it's kind of awkward to say your dad because what if this person be like, that ain't my daddy. Where was he at all these years or whatever? Oh, so Lauren tells her, I know we're not as close. I know that we're not in the same situation as each other, but I couldn't imagine not having a relationship with my dad. And as much as I don't want my mother to hear this, he is the most important relationship that I have because he just gets me. I hope that helps Nikki come around and try to give her dad a chance too. So Lauren told her that her father just has this way, and if you have a chance to have that too, don't just let it go. Get to know your dad. And Nikki was like, he gave my mom his journals from when he was in prison. Nikki says she low-key afraid to read the diary. So Lauren says, you want me to? And Nikki shook her head, yeah. So Lauren grabs the diary. Then Lauren starts reading this dope-ass poem that the father, Nate, wrote to Nikki. And it starts off with Lauren talking, and Nate's voice takes over, and it is just dope. And Nikki is crying while she's listening to it. Next thing you know, they show Raymond's ex-wife at the hospital, and there's a car backing in, and it says Howard University. So she walks up to him, acting like, they buddy. Of course, she's trying to get information. So the doctor or the guy at the hospital is like, oh, can I get an autograph? You went to Howard too, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'll do you one better. I'll take a selfie. And then he gets all excited. She's like, but with one caveat. You have to tell me about how, what's going on with Mr. Franklin's condition. So yeah, it cuts to another scene. So I think I'm going to end this one right here. Part 2 of Our Kind of People, Season 1, Episode 7, Fathers, Daughters, and Sisters. Part 2 of the recap. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate everybody watching. Peace.